What's up, everybody? Let's Talk Jets Radio. This might be a little bit longer of a video, so I can try to fully explain what my take was last night and how I felt like some words maybe got thrown out of context. But first and foremost, thank you to everybody that tuned in, and apologies to those that were expecting a full 2-hour show. And apologies also to the callers that were already in the queue waiting to come on. I certainly didn't expect things to escalate that quickly or to completely go off the rails the way they did. But that's what happens. We're all passionate about this team. We're all passionate about our takes. And at least for me, I said it in the beginning of the show, I'm never going to bite my tongue on something that I believe in. And when the personal shots start coming in, whether it's from the chat or just going back and forth, I'm going to defend my take even harder. Again, especially if it's something that I believe in, and especially if it's something that I feel like many other people are not willing to say, because there does come some backlash with it when you don't talk kindly about your quarterback, especially after a victory. And I'll say it that I do understand that mindset of the team just won a game, you got to 3-3, you beat a good team, you're going into the bye week. There should be all these positive vibes. And to me, the story should have been more about the defense. And that's one thing that I wish, maybe we did differently as far as the show. It's something that we did do on Monday night, which was talk about the defense first, because they deserve plenty of props, plenty of praise. And in my eyes, they still carried this team to that 3-3 record. You could say all you want that Zach made the throws in between the 20s and, managed the game well. My whole point in bringing up last year was to show that he was doing those things. He did have 72% completions against the Buffalo Bills. He had 4 straight games where the Jets won, where he didn't turn the ball over. So to me, the biggest thing, winning is still a great deodorant, and the Jets and Zach Wilson are still a week-to-week team, week-to-week quarterback. I'm not getting too high, I'm not getting too low. He's made progress that in my eyes is very minimal. The Jets are still the 32nd ranked passing offense in all of football right now. I don't know how anybody can look at those numbers and say this is significant progress, or that, he's playing well. By what standard? But by the standard that he set his first 2 years, okay, that's somewhat progress. But by the standard of competent NFL quarterback play around the league, to me, that's just not enough. If we're talking about a team that should be in the playoffs this year, he's going to have to do more than that. They're not going to be able to rely on the defense giving them 4 extra takeaways to get all these wins that they're going to need to make the playoffs, which is probably going to be 10 wins. I think 9-8 probably falls just short, unless some of the losses come to the Giants and Washington, and they end up getting some tiebreakers. Otherwise, there's a good chance that if they're 8-9, 9-8, they're going to be a game or two out. And to me, that would suck, because there's so much talent on this team. They have Breece Hall coming back, not losing him like they lost him last year, but coming out of the bye week, they've got 3 games against some defenses that are not playing well. So to me, that's the real test. You want to say he faced some great defenses while he was learning a new offense, and whatever other excuses you want to make, that's fine. They got the win. That's what's most important. But at the end of the day, he's got to play better if we're talking about this team making the playoffs. So you want to tout the little things, that's fine. But when I look at the complete picture, I see a narrative that completely changed based on the result. I know I said this to a few people in the comments, that at 58 minutes through that game, there was one narrative that was already written. And then because the defense did something, suddenly that changed the narrative about Zach. And that's what I didn't really understand. And when people started denying that, that's when, I'm going to fight back a little bit, because to me, it didn't make any sense. You go on Twitter, the conversations that I was having in the stadium with people, he did not play well. If we're talking about scoring points, if we're talking about red zone offense, he didn't play well. And even his completion percentages were down based on what he had did the previous 2 weeks. So if we're saying he's making progress, well, he had 70% completions in back-to-back games prior to the Eagle game, and then he was down below 60 against the Eagles. So what is it exactly? Where exactly are we saying there's progress? You want to tout the footwork, fine. The comfort level, which is more of an eye test thing, fine. I'm still looking at points that are being left on the field. So at the 58-minute mark, I think there was clearly a narrative that was truthful about how he had played up until that point, where if you don't get the field goal before the first half, which again they were lucky to get that one after the defense gave them the ball back again, to have those 3 extra points, now you're a little bit closer. The offense had put up essentially 9 points throughout that game, and that's with 3 extra takeaways. The offense had put up 9 points. So at that moment, they were a Jalen Hurts first down away from being 2-4, and at 2-4 with the worst rated passing offense in all of football, you can't tell me that we're not having a completely different discussion about this quarterback right now. And I'm glad, to be clear, I'm glad that we're not. All right, I don't want to see Zach get benched. I'm rooting for the kid. It might not sound like it. It may be tough love or whatever you guys, however you want to word it. All right, it's definitely not hate. Because if it was hate, why the hell would I praise him after the Kansas City game? Why would I praise him all summer during training camp in the preseason when everybody wanted to dump him? It's certainly not hate. But at 2-4, they would have lost, which again, the defense saved him. If the Jets lose that game and they're 2-4 going into the bye week with the worst passing offense in all of football, he's possibly a game, maybe 2 games away from being completely benched. And we'd be right back to where we were last year. That's just the reality of it. So now, yes, I'm happy that we got to 3-3. I'm happy that he gets a little bit longer to figure it out because he does have the most upside. All right, he does have the most upside. At a Boyle or Simeon, or I don't think they're trading for anybody. His upside, absolutely, I think gives the best chance to win. As far as the actual production that we're seeing on the field, with the way this defense is playing, with the way we've seen the run game capable of playing at times for flashes against Denver. He's got to be able to do more of the little things. He's got to be able to put up points. Red zone, third downs, not completely missing wide open receivers or not seeing them. That's just what it is for me. This game comes down to points. And when you have a dominant defense, which again, they've been through 6 weeks. We saw a dominant defense through 9 weeks last year. And then post-bye week, they came back down to earth. So even if they take just a small step back, we're still going to need this offense to put up possibly 20-plus points more often than not. So is Zach capable of doing that? I'm open to it. I hope he does. I'm rooting for him just like everybody else is. But I'm also not going to sit here and say this is Zach Wilson's team. Not just yet. He still has a lot more to do and a lot more to prove before he earns that. If we're winning games post-bye week, and again, the first 3 games out of the bye week are against teams with bad defenses. So if we're winning games, once again, only because of the run game, or only because of the defense, and he's not actually making plays to put up points on the board, to me, that discussion still remains open about whether or not you look at another option, whether it's Simeon or Boyle. I don't know if there would be an option that you could pick up. They're not going to trade for anybody, past that point. But, if there's a free agent option that becomes available, to me, all options would be on the table because you cannot flush this season away. This isn't me hating on Zach. It's me looking out for the other 52 guys in that locker room that deserve a shot at the playoffs this year if he doesn't take that significant step. Right now, I stand by what I said. I think it's minimal growth. The numbers prove that. In the 5 wins last year, he threw for 2 touchdowns. In the 3 wins this year, he's thrown for 1 touchdown. He's averaging 5.6 yards passing more per game this year. That is very minimal. Completion percentage going up. That's good. There's little things that you're seeing. Plays that he makes on the run. You give him credit for that. The Lazard penalty, I know it hurt them. All right, I'm not denying these things just to hate on the kid. But as a quarterback, as the leader of your team, you have to put up points. You have to make guys better around you at times. And I'm still seeing an offense where everybody around him, it seems like, is trying to uplift him, and he's still not making anybody else around him better. And at some point, if it doesn't get significantly better, it will be a problem. So there's no hate going on here. I'm rooting for the kid. I love the kid. I want to see him go out there and ball out, but there's certain things that he still has to clean up and get better with. So we'll see what happens, but I'll talk to you guys later. Appreciate all the support, all the feedback, all the messages. If I wasn't getting these messages, maybe I'd question myself a little bit about whether or not this was the right time to get into all this. But clearly there's enough of you out there that are seeing things the same way that I'm seeing them, and that just they're watching people that maybe are afraid to say it, that don't want to say it, think the timing's wrong, whatever it may be. I've always told you guys I'm going to give my honest reaction, and that's just the way it is. So if you don't like it, I apologize. Hopefully, next week's show maybe could be a little bit calmer. I'll be in a better mood, not have to, deal with so much chaos and fight back. But still appreciate all the support. I'll see what I can do about maybe getting another stream up, possibly, Friday night, or maybe something over the weekend, because I did want to hear what the callers had to say about this. Even if you were calling in to rip me, I always respect everybody's opinion as it relates to this team. I don't take my opinion as being worth more than somebody else's just because I have a platform. We have this platform because of all the people that call in, all the people that tune in, the chat, everybody else. Like, everybody's opinion to me holds the same weight. I'm no better, no worse than anybody else. So I stand by my opinion. I'll speak it loudly when I believe in it. And like I said, I think this is a team right now that run game, defense is the reason we are 3-3 and not 1-5, and not having a completely different conversation about the quarterback. So with all that being said, go Zach. I hope you ball out post-bye week. I hope this shit doesn't turn into what happened last year. I'm rooting for you. Talk to you guys later.